morning. Good morning. Jen here from Female Fusion, and I am here for our fifth day of Fusion Insights with the wonderful chef Vanessa Bayma from CBC Consultancy and Events. Morning, Vanessa.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Jen. I'm super excited to be on the show today.
I am so excited because I love talking about people's businesses and I love hearing about people's businesses. And your business is a little bit unique compared to maybe what some of our traditional entrepreneurs are like. But I think your business, so many people are interested in as well. So why don't we, before we get started, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, who you are and what your business is about.
Sure, I'd be happy to. So my name is Chef Vanessa Bayma. I originally was a paralegal going through college, and I found a passion for events and food. I mean, who doesn't love food, right? The business that we have set up, we've been here 9 years in Dubai, and we also operate in Saudi and internationally. And there's two parts to our business. So we provide private chef experiences on villas, yachts, chalets internationally as our clients request, which very much sets apart from just having a catered experience. All of our chefs are award-winning, Michelin trained, Rosetta standing, and very, very unique, and really kind of brings a new element to an event because they are the entertainment. And the other aspect, we do consultancies for food and beverage outlets, everything from concept development, design, recipe creation, managing your money, and also having to sometimes guide our clients in the right direction so that their business that they're starting can be profitable, or we save their businesses by doing audits.
And oftentimes you find, because I know you and I have spoken about this, and I see this in Female Fusion as well, is sometimes people go into the food business or the restaurant business because they want to have a cafe, or they think it's, great to have a restaurant because they love food. And then all of a sudden they realize, well, it's not just cooking, there's the whole other side of the like any business, it doesn't matter if you have a restaurant or a cafe, or if you have a management consultancy, or you're selling shoes. They're all businesses and you need to run your business.
Exactly. And that's a very good point that we really try to convey to everyone, that when you're going to make your life your passion, all right, you have to remember, let's not kill the passion by entering into something unprepared. And it doesn't matter if you're selling cupcakes, or if you're selling fine dining, or if you're selling books. It's a business at the end of the day. And with that in mind, it needs to be structured as such. So you might think you have the best grandma's recipe, but if it's costing you more money to make it than to sell it, then there's a problem. And that's what we really try to do, is to communicate with our clients in a way, not to kill their ideas, but to have them understand that the end product is the end product. So whatever you're selling in food and beverage, that's an end product. You need to build your entire structure and strategy to be able to carry on and produce your end product and be profitable at the end of the quarters.
And that's so important that you say that. And we've been talking a lot about that in especially the Fusion Circle, because I'm hearing from a lot of businesses that this is an area that they're really stuck in, that a lot of times people go, they get a trade license, think that they've got a business, and all of a sudden, maybe 6 months in, 1 year in, say, oh, we're not really making money. We're not making the money that we thought we were going to make with this brilliant idea or this brilliant cupcake business. Although we don't really have cupcake businesses anymore. That was a couple of years ago.
It was a fad. I do remember.
It was a fad, and it seems like it's craft burger joints at the moment. I don't know what the next fad is, but it is
tacos, probably.
Tacos. Oh, interesting. I like tacos. But it is, like the whole thing of getting that structure right in your business and setting up systems. And I think when people realize that they can get that right in their business, it's the foundation where everything else can run.
I completely agree with you. And as you mentioned, the main thing is what's great about the Female Fusion Network. I'm going to just go ahead and pitch here a little bit, is that it's a group of people who have experiences in all of these things. So what I very much suggest for anyone, if they have a concept that they want to develop, there are numerous consultants and other fellow female business owners who have already fallen and lost a bunch of money and have learned through trial and error. So I advise anyone just to throw it out into the network, especially in the inner circle. We have a wealth of knowledge that we can share with everyone. But the main thing is that tale as old as time. You fail to plan, you're planning to fail. And any business that you're entering into should be calculated out to the percentage of all the costs, any overheads, any surprise visits. And quite frankly, you should have running costs just deposited into your account for a year, up to a year before you even start, because there's going to be unexpected expenses. Maybe a piece of equipment that you bought broke down. Maybe a staff member left you. Now you need to get a new staff member and refile for a visa. You have to put these things into consideration. But the main thing that I always find is in my industry, it's very tough. People think they know what they're doing and they want to just go. So we have to learn to listen to our clients and communicate with them on the level that they can hear us and we can hear them, so they feel heard.
Now that's actually really important. So this is actually getting to what we wanted to speak to you about today, is the whole area of managing customers, because we've been having these conversations, and this gets brought up a lot in the Fusion Circle, which is the premium membership, which you're part of, is the client management side and dealing with customers. And I thought, who better to talk about this than somebody who works in the F&B business, because I can imagine as a chef owning a catering business that it must be tough. You must have some tough demands, some difficult clients, and also as well that the industry can be very unpredictable, and it can make it difficult sometimes as well to manage those expectations. Maybe if you don't get the right amount of food in, or something happens that you're not able to go and deliver what it was that they initially expected. You're smiling because I bet you've handled all of those situations.
I sure have. Just as an example, yesterday, one of our chefs were on a yacht that I had taken an entire week going back and forth with the coordinator to make sure that this customized menu, they ordered off plan, which we're happy to do, but we're very, very, very clear of exactly what they're getting. So it's huge descriptions, grammage, everything, so they understand what they're actually receiving. I get a call from the chef. He goes, "The lady on the boat's asking for fish, that she ordered fish." And we're like, no, she didn't. There's no sea bass on that menu. And he's like, well, she's insisting that we just give her fish. And I'm like, okay, we have to handle this with diploma, because it's not a restaurant. We're in the middle of the ocean. Unless we're going to go fishing, there's not going to be fish. So one of the main things that what we've kind of learned is that you can't take anything personally. And it's difficult because your business is your baby. You know, this is something that you dreamt about and you built and you're passionate about. And then somebody turns around and maybe it's not so polite, or perhaps is insisting that you do it their way, or criticism. You know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you have to take everything with a grain of salt, and you have to learn their communicational language, right? So I speak to Jen different than I speak to Lavon, that I different to Jake, to Mohammed. Why? On initial meetings, first off, even though after COVID, we're doing a lot of Zoom calls and Skype calls, the reason why the face-to-face is so important is psychologically, you're going to learn visual clues. So if I say something right, I see Jen smiling, I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track. And then you'll get a baseline of how this particular person wants to be heard and also communicates. Because you have some clients that they're just used to screaming and yelling all the time. Well, first off, what I can say, as a woman, you nip that in the butt right there. It takes two people to have an argument. If your client continues to scream and yell, you very quietly say, listen, I understand, and I can see that you're upset. Let us find a solution to make sure that we can put you back into the plan, the happiness, the direction you'd like to go. They can only scream so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And if you
exactly.
continue to say, "Listen, sir, you're now at this point. We're not getting anything accomplished. What can we do to fix it?" They'll calm down. You know, it's very similar to what, I hate to say this, but dealing with children. You know, they're full of emotion, and you're not listening to me. You're not hearing me, and they get all upset. If you react to that in a negative manner and start getting defensive, or if you start yelling back, it's just going to implode on itself. It's all about learning their communicational skills and just asking them, like, all right, I can see that you're upset. Can you walk me through the process of why you're upset and what you would like done to fix it? Well, you've just given him the power, or I always say him, but women can also be quite challenging. You've given them the go ahead saying, I am listening. Please communicate with me so that we can fix it together. And people appreciate that. And when dealing with clients, it's very important to also not just say yes to everything. You know, oh, I need this and it needs to be done tomorrow. If you feed into their unrealistic expectations and then aren't able to deliver, you're the one at fault. So it's very important to be able to communicate with them, find out exactly what their expectations are. If their expectations are not feasible, don't just be like, no, that can't be done. Be like, listen, I see what you're saying. And these are great goals, but let's compartmentalize and restructure it so that it can be feasible to a certain extent, but in a result that you'll be happy with. And most people will be like, okay, great, because you didn't tell them no. You're just rerouting what they need. And this happens a lot in my industry because you know, a lot of them want to sell cookies. I'm going to go to cookies because it's cute. It's cute. You want to sell your cookies. You want to have your little cafe, but you can't make your cookies with ingredients that you're buying from Carrefour and then only charge 2 dirham, because you need to have your FCR calculators with your VAT, that your food cost ratio needs to be at 20 or less if you're going to be using aggregators and drivers and have the lights on. And a lot of people are like, no,
you've just given me so much jargon there. Just a minute.
Sorry,
I'm
go
gonna walk
ahead.
you back a little. I'm going to walk you back a little bit.
Just go like this. I tend to talk too much.
When it comes to communications, we need to keep it simple. So I want to go back just to explain. So you were talking about FCR. Explain what that is.
Okay. My mistake. In food and beverage, it's called a food cost ratio. So basically, if I have a dish that I'm selling for 10 dirhams, the packaging, the ingredients, if there's wastage like the banana peel or whatnot, all of that requires the item to be made, put into a bag with a sticker, needs to be no more than 2 dirhams for you to be profitable.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And
if you're
in the
buying
past,
your ingredients from Carrefour, that's not happening.
Exactly. And when it's a household operation, okay, this is one of my favorites. You don't have to cost in the gas or the lights or the rent or the staff, because you're just doing it on your own. But as soon as you get all of these extra expenses, you've got to be very careful in regards to what you're spending so that you can be profitable. You know, sometimes it's not a feasible idea just to do cookies, but you could partner with a production kitchen who will take a percentage and then do all of your marketing, you handle your marketing and you handle all of that aspect of it. And then it can be profitable for you. So that's another thing to put into consideration, which goes back to having a business plan, which is the most important thing that we can always get for people.
Business plans. Do you know what?
Yes.
So many entrepreneurs that I speak with don't have a business plan or haven't done a business model canvas. And um, research is one of the big things that I see when a business isn't profitable. That that's one of the gaps that businesses have, is that they, well, the one, they haven't got a business plan, and two, they haven't done the research. And if you haven't done the research, it's very difficult to know exactly what it is that you're selling and who you're selling it to, and if they're actually going to pay for it, and if it's something that they
Exactly.
want to spend money on. It's really interesting. I want to pull up a comment because this is from Aziza. Hi, Aziza. And actually, this is interesting. Aziza's in the Fusion Circle as well, so yay! We're all supporting each other. She was mentioning that she asked for more time, even though she knows she can deliver it earlier, so that when I do deliver, they'll be happy and impressed. I like that. Under promise, over deliver.
Exactly. And that's the way to do everything. Um, if it's not just delivery, but also for the product, for anything that you're doing, um, it's a great way to also elevate the client's experience with you. So if you say that, for like Aziza, she says, okay, I'll deliver it in 3 days, but then she calls up the client, be like, listen, I have really good news. It'll come in 2 days. I expected. The client's gonna go, wow, she took that extra care to inform me it came beforehand. I must have been prioritized. I feel special. I like working with this company.
Yeah, yeah. And that's, communication is another important thing, as well, as just to be very clear in the beginning about what those deliverables are and what it is that you're going to be doing and how long it's going to take and what is going to be included. And I really like it when I deal with businesses that they are very clear on exactly what the deliverables are, what the time frame is going to be, and make it very clear, because especially in this part of the world, everything is last minute. People do things, they need it yesterday, and that often doesn't allow you to do the very best job. And so it's managing the expectations of the client and not promising that you can do something, or saying that you can do something just to win the business, and then realize that you're not able to do that because it's unrealistic.
I completely agree with you. As well as, just to add on that point, a lot of times, and I'm sure you've also ran into this issue where the client changes things mid-project,
Yeah,
and we are able to be adaptable and to be able to change things, but then it needs to be made clear to the client that the original timelines are now amended because they've now asked for changes. And this is something that a lot of business owners and operations forget to inform their clients. The client will be like, listen, yeah, so I want to change this whole thing. I'll be like, okay, but now you've just extended your timeline by 2 weeks. If we don't inform the client when the original timeline comes and they're like, where's my stuff? That's the wrong time to then
yeah.
state, oh, but you extended it,
Oh,
because now you
sorry, it's
sound
going to
like,
be 2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah, because then it sounds like you're making excuses when in reality, as communication is the most important thing in every aspect. I mean, even with business plans and your ordering and whatever business operations, so your standard operating procedures, SOPs, it's all about communication. So everything's black and white, so that what Jen is telling me, I understand the same way that she said it versus my own interpretation.
Yeah, no, that's really important. Would you, just before we get to Salwa's question, would you recommend for most people to create something like a scope of work, or to be as detailed as possible, especially if you're in more of the services side, that you're going to detail exactly what it is that you're going to be delivering for the customer, for the client, with the timeframes against that, so then if there's any changes, like you said, if they ask to have changes and it means that it's 2 weeks, it allows you to go back to that scope of work.
I completely think that's the only way to do it. In general, not only with our events, but with our consultancies, we break down the scope of work for each individual item, the timeline for that item, with consideration the hindrance that multiple items are happening simultaneously. And we're very, very specific down to the fork of what the
That's
client needs to expect from us. Hello?
excellent. And I see that as well. I think you're still there, Vanessa. So, looks like Vanessa's having a few tech problems over there. I don't know what's happened with Vanessa. We'll just give her another second to go and reconnect. Salwa, we're getting to your question next. We will give Vanessa just one more minute to connect. But picking up on that we were speaking about on the whole area of scope of work. Yesterday, I did a session with Thai Dubai when we were talking about operations and part of systems. And that really very much needs to be one of the systems that you have within your business, especially if you're providing a service or you are trying to manage the expectations with your client, that you are going to be very clear on what that is. And that's one of the systems that you have. And maybe even as well that there's a way that you're going to be able to convey that information to the client. So for example, one of the things that we do is we use Docusign within Female Fusion. So we detail things out and we have it within Docusign and we have a template. And so it makes it easier to be able to take things in and out and customize things for your customers. And then you send it to them to get them to sign to show that they have agreed to what that is as well. So I think where Vanessa seems to have lost connectivity here. So we're going to give Vanessa just a couple more minutes just to join us back, because there's a lot of things that we want to cover with Vanessa. So just give us another second as well. So if anybody has any other questions for me while we're waiting for Vanessa to get reconnected again. But just to go back to that when your systems, when you are creating things like customer management tools, if you can replicate that. So for example, if you are providing similar scopes of work, maybe there's like 5 or 10 different things that you as a business regularly do, rather than you having to rewrite it or go into documents and go and recreate things, that we always recommend as well that you have that in it's some sort of system that you will be able to take from that. You'll have templates that you can take from that and go and build your scope of work, so it makes it much easier. And I love how Salwa said as well, DocuSign is such a great tool, and it is. And it makes it easier rather than you, back in the old days, we used to have Word documents and you would take them and maybe somebody would put their electronic signature on it. It would go back and forth. And sometimes as well, people would end up losing them, or one customer would go and get the document and not sign it, and you would be under so much pressure to go and get that done that sometimes you would even start the work without having that scope of work as well. And Aziza says, project management tool, you can create a master task and just copy and paste for a new client. Exactly. And Aziza, what do you use from a project management point of view as well? Do you have anything that you specifically use and love? I mean, there's so many different tools that you can use, but it's so great to be able to be consistent with that. Okay, so Aziza's using, I'll just have Aziza there. Going back, Aziza says that she's using ClickUp. So ClickUp is one tool. We use Monday.com. Different businesses use different things, but it just helps in a way of helping you become more organized as well. So Vanessa, we've got you back.
I am so sorry. I seem to have had a technical glitch, but that's the name of the game, and we just plow forward. So I am back. I do apologize about that, guys.
No
so where were we?
So I was just talking. I was carrying on from where you left off. But there was a couple of questions that I wanted to bring up for you. And one was a question from Salwa, where she was asking about what hurdles you met as a female owner in such industry.
Oh, that is an excellent question. Thank you very much, Salwa. Well, in F&B, as well as being a consultant, as a female, it's a little bit difficult in our industry because the general census is that the woman should cook at home for the family, but in a professional kitchen, we are unicorns. Most female entrepreneurs and chefs in our industry are mainly pastry, and half the meetings that I go to with the guilds, there's 100 men in the room and 5 women. Now, this is something that I like to use as an empowerment, basically to push forward and show other women and try to lead by example, stating that we do belong here, we do have a voice in the industry, and that we should be respected as such. Granted, I will have to say that being a younger entrepreneur, it was a little bit difficult, as culturally speaking, a lot of old men don't want to listen to a young female. But you just have to pull back and understand that it has nothing to do with you personally, and remove the gender from it. So when I mention that, I'm sure Jen has seen me. My hair is up. I've got my chef jacket on, and that's the uniform. When I go into meetings where I know that the client is gender biased, I neutralize the gender. I will wear my chef jacket, which automatically is giving me authority as an executive chef. Doesn't matter what's behind it. My hair is pulled up into a bun, and I learned their cadence of how they speak, and I speak back to them just as they speak to me. Obviously, it's tough, but there are more and more women in the industry that are now standing up for themselves, and we unite together. So when we meet at the guilds and when we're doing this, we make sure that we're the loudest, proudest, most amazing people in the room, and people gravitate to that. So it's all about trying to not take anything personally. um, and
Yeah. And things are changing, right?
Yes.
It's not like it was maybe 20 years ago, like for when I first started working, that things have changed. And I think it shows as well that diversity not only is important because women make up 50% of the population, and it's not only just men and women, it's also ethnic minorities, it's people of, you know, disabilities as well. Everybody should have a place. And it goes and shows as well that research has shown that when you have a diverse workforce, when you have diverse representation, those businesses perform better because you have a better understanding of who your customers are, because your customers are everybody. So why shouldn't your workplace be that as well?
Exactly. And I believe that us being more vocal, because I will admit 10, 15 years ago, I was afraid to speak out. I was afraid to go against the grain.
Yeah.
I had imposter syndrome, which is something, Jen, that you've mentioned before in the past, that this is very important to understand, that you need to have the confidence to know I'm amazing. I am really amazing. And sometimes I forget that. And I just have to take a step back and remind myself. And also, the female entrepreneurs that I meet and talk to, I remind them, I'm like, hey, you just started this from scratch. You're amazing. They're like, well, no, but like, no, well, no, nothing.
Yeah.
You are awesome and you're doing a great job. And we need that, as
Yeah.
people, as human beings.
And it is, starting a business is a huge thing. It is a huge thing that sometimes we forget that because we're in it. Like for me, that's what I've lived and breathed for 20 years. But then when you sit back and look at it, you're like, oh my gosh, I gave up regular employment to go and have a business, to be able to do all of these things. Some days it's great, other days it's not great. And what you create and what you put into the world, every single one of those businesses are amazing. And I love that as well when we have our female fusion events. Like yesterday, for example, we had a coffee connect and we had over 80 entrepreneurs come, and we had a number of businesses with showcase stalls. And I love the showcase stalls because it's so nice to be able to see what other businesses are creating and what that looks like, and understanding what it is that they do as well. It's a really beautiful experience.
No, and the support also at the meetings is great. You know, you'll see some people are a little bit timid at first, but all of the support and care is just like its own entity in the room.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important as well, is any business that you enter, you shouldn't do it alone.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes people forget about that because they're busy, especially, you know, if you're busy, you've got your business, you've got family, you've got other obligations that sometimes you think, well, why am I going to spend my time hanging out with people that I don't know when I don't get to see my family or my friends? And so that's, you know, I'm too busy in my business. But the thing is that busy being busy is not going to grow your business, but busy expanding your network is going to help you grow your business, because all of a sudden you're going to have all of these ambassadors who understand your business, and they're going to talk about your business as well.
Exactly. That's the most traditional way of expanding your business, is by word of mouth. In this day and age, yes, the social medias are important, and yes, being out and being seen and paid ads are great. But at the end of the day, I'm going to trust what Jen enjoyed versus what I see on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the imposter syndrome thing, I mean, we could talk all day about imposter syndrome. I think every single human being has imposter syndrome at some point. And probably we as entrepreneurs maybe suffer that more than other people, because it's not every day that you wake up and go, yeah, this is great. I'm awesome. I am the best at what I do, right? You know, there's lots of, oh, can I do this? If I stand up in front of this room, what are they going to think of me? Are they going to think that I'm smart? Are they going to think I'm a good entrepreneur? Are they going to think it's a good idea? And it's those things always go around in our brains as well.
That's true, but we have to remind ourselves that those ingrams will stress you out, and then you'll end up making a mistake. So one of the things that I always tell everyone, like for Aziza, you say you still do. So I do too. But just every time that little nagging voice in the back of your head starts, take a second and acknowledge it and be like, hold on a second. What did I do this week that was amazing? Okay, well, this week I got a brand new client, or I helped another female entrepreneur, or someone came to me for help. Use that moment to just shush that
verify
voice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it is, you know, it is, we all face it, but it's, as you said, acknowledging it, recognizing it, and going, okay, imposter syndrome, go away, I'm good now, you know, because I am awesome.
You might have to do it quite a few times during the day, but at least do it.
Yeah. So Dr. Shambhavi has sent another question related to a masterclass I did with Ty last night about business operations. No, Dr. Shambhavi, but we are having a whole month on business operations. So what you saw last night in last night's session is the tip of the iceberg, and we're going to spend a whole month really helping everybody in the Fusion Circle get on top of their business operations and getting those systems in place. So, and we'll give you lots of templates and tools to make life easier as well. So absolutely. Vanessa, it's so interesting getting the insight from you. I would love to hear, if you don't mind answering, talking about customers. I always love hearing stories like from people who work in interesting industries, and I bet you have a ton of stories. I would love to hear about maybe like the craziest request that a client has asked you, maybe even one as well that was like, no, we can't do that. I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but it's,
well, I'm trying to find a PG version one that I can share on the group. Remember, we work with over 40 yacht brokers just here in Dubai, and obviously when people have that type of money for yachts, they expect the unexpected. I would have to say, in that industry, when it comes to events, the most absolutely crazy thing that was ever requested from us was that they wanted us to have an endangered species flown in, and for us to cook and prepare it.
no.
And yeah,
And have it flown in live and then have you kill it, or already dead and cook it?
No, we didn't let it get that far. When the request came in, we very politely mentioned that we have a fantastic array of local and imported goods that we could be able to offer. Unfortunately, we passed the blame a little bit and said that unfortunately, with the time restraints and custom control, we would not be able to obtain this particular item. And they're like, oh, well, we get it all the time in this blank country. And I'm like, I understand that, sir. And we do apologize. But unfortunately, here in Dubai, we're not going to be able to get that. But here are some other options. And we have a fantastic, substitute that would be the same flavor. Whatever they needed to hear to cut
and
it
were they happy with that?
Yes, they were. I think
okay.
That is my husband crawling around in the background.
Yeah, there we go. There's Vanessa's husband. You're live on social media. Gotta love husbands.
Well, you know what they say, you just have to roll with the punches. But no,
exactly.
Thankfully it did work. And I think it was just, a lot of times the requests are just to see that if they can get what they want, just to be extravagant and show off a little bit, especially when it comes to the private events. The most difficult one, and I'll be very quick, was when the first year of Middle Beast, before the pandemic hit. My company was in charge of the food and beverage division for the VVIP section and the diplomatic quarter. With over 42 suites, there was about 7,000 people a day. 2 days before the event, they added another 12 suites. So I had to build a kitchen in 3 days.
Wow. But you did it.
Yeah, we got it done. The reviews and everything were absolutely fantastic. Everyone loved everything. I was in charge of over 2,500 staff, including 4 Michelin chefs that we flew over from France. So everyone said everything was fantastic. They had no idea about the nightmare that was happening behind the scenes, because that's the way we do it.
We're always like swans, right? You look very elegant on the top, and then you're kicking nuts underneath the water.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, just before we go, I have a quick question for you. I would love to hear from you, because part of this as well, we're inviting a number of our Fusion Circle members on to talk about themselves, their businesses, give some insights to help other entrepreneurs. You've been a member of the Fusion Circle now for a while. How has it helped you in your business?
I will have to say, for anyone who's on the fence debating if they should join the inner circle or not, that they should bite the bullet and join, because it's a completely different level of support. Not only do we have all of the online videos and connections, as well as the circle meetings that we do conduct, you're also able to tap into a resource that usually you would have to pay hundreds of dollars to get. So, for example, the way that it's helped me in my business is that there are a few members and a few of the videos that I have tapped into that has helped me manage my company and its growth. Originally, we were under an umbrella company with Saudi owners, which is fantastic. I'm not going to complain, since one of them was my cousin. But it really kind of stifled what we were able to do and be able to produce for our clients. But I did not have the resources or understanding how to break free from that. And with the inner circle, I was able to speak with key members, as well as not only getting emotional support, but business advice and guidance that allowed me to break free. And
That's
3
great.
months after that, we already broke the threshold. Our sales are through the roof, mashallah. And I wouldn't have had the resources, both business and emotionally, support if it wasn't for the inner circle. So guys, the price, I believe, is going up soon. Don't miss out on this. It's the best money I've ever spent, and we spend tons of money on ads and stuff like that.
And it's so cheap. This is the thing, that it's like right now it's 158 dirhams a month, or 1,575 a year. So we've got a little over a week, and then after that the pricing is changed, and we won't have the founder member rate anymore. So we've got over 500 women entrepreneurs in the Fusion Circle. So I think we're doing something right to have 500 ladies who are saying that it's really helping grow their businesses, and they're getting huge discounts and connections, and it's a special place. The UAE's best kept secret, we keep getting told.
Exactly. I believe it's also the #1 network for females here in the UAE. I read a report of that a little while ago. And,
oh, really? Oh, great.
Yeah. So
I like hearing that.
I get people asking me all the time, and then come to find out a lot of members that are circling around, they have switched and joined after seeing the growth of what's happened with my business, and they ask me, how'd you do it? I'm like, couldn't have done it without the inner circle support.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, Vanessa, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud to see like how your business is flourishing. It's amazing. Every time I talk to you, there's always like something new. You're growing, you're doing this, you're adding that. And it's so wonderful that the community is a community of givers. And I know you spoke about the support that you've gotten from people, but I know as well that you have spent time and you've been supporting other women entrepreneurs who are thinking about getting into the F&B business, to maybe give them a bit of insight and information before they go and take that deep dive, or direct them or connect them with other people that might support them. So thank you as well to you for being such a giver and being so supportive of other women in business as well.
Thank you so much, Jen. To be honest, everybody watching, this would not have been possible if it wasn't for Jen. She's the one who really opened up my eyes and spoke to me at the second meeting that I had gone to. And honestly, Jen, I couldn't be happier to have met you in life, in business, and I really look forward to the future.
Thank you, Vanessa. That's so sweet. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you to everybody for taking part in all of your great questions and contributing. And Vanessa, thank you for being part of our journey at the Fusion Circle and making it the most amazing community that it is. So thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. All right. You guys take care. Bye. And I hope to see everybody